Re-Animator, directed by Stuart Gordon and released in 1985, is a cult classic that masterfully blends grotesque horror with darkly absurd humor. Inspired by H.P. Lovecraft's Herbert West Re-Animator, the film follows Herbert West, a brilliant yet morally questionable medical student whose obsessive quest to conquer death leads to ethical dilemmas and horrific consequences. Set in a prestigious Swiss medical school and later at Miskatonic University, the narrative explores themes of ambition, obsession, and the sanctity of life. With a rich backdrop of medical experimentation, Re-Animator delves into the dangers of hubris, the moral ramifications of playing God. The film challenges traditional horror tropes through its vibrant, blood-soaked visuals and sharp wit. From the sinister fate of Professor Gruber to the intense rivalry between West and Dr. Hill, the film showcases a captivating story that highlights its cultural impact and enduring legacy within the horror genre. By revitalizing this horror genre, Re-Animator emerges a timeless exploration of life, death, and the consequences of unchecked ambition, bringing forth a unique narrative that simultaneously provokes laughter and chills, making it a standout within horror cinema. In a medical school in Zurich, Switzerland, a horrifying incident unfolds when Dean Halsey, accompanied by a policeman and a nurse, discovers Professor Gruber in agony. Gruber's skin has turned purple and his bulging eyes eventually explode, leading to his tragic death. The sole witness to the event, Herbert West, a particularly ambitious medical student, chillingly declares, "No, I gave him life." This moment foreshadows West's unorthodox quest to conquer death through radical experimentation. West's journey takes him to Miskatonic University in New England, where he hopes to expand his medical studies and ambitions. There, he rents a room from fellow student Dan Kane, whom he quickly drags into his eccentric laboratory setup. A rivalry quickly develops between West and Dr. Carl Hill, a faculty member who West accuses of misappropriating the theories of his deceased mentor. Hill, intent on thwarting West's progress, devises a plan to sabotage him. Amid this academic tension, Dan finds himself in a secret romance with Barbara, the dean's daughter. Their relationship is perilous as exposure could lead to Dan's expulsion, complicating matters further. Tensions escalate when Dan discovers that West has successfully reanimated his deceased pet cat, Rufus, using a mysterious glowing reagent, alarming Dan's fiancée, Megan, upon witnessing the grotesque outcome. As West's experiments begin to attract scrutiny, Dr. Hill manipulates Dean Halsey into believing that West and Dan pose threats to the university's reputation, resulting in their expulsion. Undeterred, West and Dan sneak into the morgue to test the reagent on a human corpse. The experiment goes awry, leading to chaos when the reanimated cadaver attacks, culminating in Dean Halsey's tragic death. In a desperate move, West injects Halsey with the same reagent, bringing him back in a nightmarish state. The situation deteriorates when Hill takes control of the reanimated Halsey, imprisoning him while he continues his own heinous experiments. West and Dan infiltrate Hill's office, revealing his obsessive experiments involving lobotomized corpses and his fixation on Megan. When Hill confronts West, the resulting conflict turns violent, with West decapitating Hill in a moment of rage. However, this victory swiftly turns grotesque as Hill's reanimated head and the body reunite to retaliate against West. The final layers of tension unravel when Hill, wielding mind control over Halsey, sends him to abduct Megan. In a frantic chase, Dan and West uncover Hill's horrifying manipulation of numerous corpses. Just as the situation escalates into chaos, Megan reaches her father, leading to a violent clash. Despite their efforts, the ensuing chaos results in Halsey's demise during a gruesome attack. In a breathless climax, West administers a lethal overdose of the reagent to Hill, leading to a monstrous transformation that threatens West's life. During a frantic struggle, he cries out for Dan to salvage his research before being consumed by Hill's grotesque form. Dan, prioritizing survival, manages to escape with Megan, but is heartbroken when she is ultimately killed by a reanimated corpse. In a devastating moment of grief, he attempts to revive her using West's reagent, leaving the narrative on an unsettling cliffhanger punctuated by Megan's horrific scream, hinting that her reanimation has gone awry. Throughout this chilling tale, themes of ambition, ethical dilemmas, and the consequences of tampering with life and death resonate, presenting a dark exploration of humanity's desire to transcend natural limits through forbidden knowledge. Herbert West's relentless drive and Dan Kane's moral quandaries embodied the precarious balance between scientific inquiry and horrific outcomes, crafting a compelling yet disturbing narrative about resurrection and its dire ramifications. In the midst of the 1980s horror resurgence, Stuart Gordon's 1985 film Re-Animator, inspired by H.P. Lovecraft's Herbert West Re-Animator, combined dark humor with graphic gore. With a modest budget of $900,000, the film grossed over $4 million worldwide, finding a dedicated audience and establishing itself as a cult classic. The special effects, led by John Nolan, were notably ambitious, with the team utilizing an extraordinary 24 gallons of fake blood during filming, vastly exceeding the 2 gallons typically used in past projects. Originally, Gordon and co-writer Dennis Paoli aimed for a more faithful adaptation of Lovecraft's story and intended to parody Frankenstein. However, the final project diverged significantly from its source material. The role of the villainous Dr. Carl Hill was initially envisioned for horror icon Christopher Lee, who declined the offer, leading to David Gale taking the part. The film was shot in an intense 16-day period with 2 additional days for pickups, yet it managed to maintain coherence and entertainment value. Anticipating the graphic content would lead to an X rating, the filmmakers prudently chose not to submit the film for MPAA evaluation. Consequently, an R-rated version was distributed on VHS, which toned down some scenes. However, the uncut version became highly regarded for its unabashed gore and humor. Re-Animator has endured due to its unique blend of horror and comedy, characterized by campy charm and over-the-top effects. Its unconventional production process highlights a triumph of creative vision, solidifying its status as a beloved entry into the horror genre. Re-Animator is a film that intricately weaves together themes of ethical science, obsession, madness, and dark comedy, primarily through the character of Herbert West. West's relentless quest to conquer death raises poignant moral questions about the implications of scientific experimentation and ambition. His ambition encapsulates the hubris of playing God, as he pushes the boundaries of scientific inquiry, ignoring both the natural order and the sanctity of life. This ambition forces viewers to reflect on the real-world ethical concerns surrounding advancements such as genetic engineering and cloning. West embodies unchecked ambition and moral decline, conducting experiments that are devoid of ethical considerations. His grotesque attempts at reanimating the dead yield alarming results, illustrating the pitfalls of manipulating life. By transforming living beings into mere subjects, West's cold detachment raises unsettling questions about dehumanization in the context of scientific progress. The film invites the audience to ponder who decides the acceptable costs associated with scientific exploration. Dan Kane, another central character, provides a contrasting perspective on scientific complicity. Initially captivated by West's ambitions, Dan gradually becomes aware of the consequences of their unethical experiments. His internal moral struggle highlights the importance of accountability in the scientific community and serves as a reminder that passive participation in the wrongful practices can have serious implications. Through Dan, Re-Animator underscores the necessity of grounding scientific ambition in ethical responsibility. Madness, particularly West's, is a prominent theme throughout the film. As a quintessential mad scientist archetype, West's obsession unravels into chaos, demonstrating how a singular focus on scientific achievement can erode one's humanity. His negligence towards suffering caused by his experiments leads to grotesque outcomes, showcasing the darker side of unbridled ambition. West's madness also influences Dan, who initially regards West as a brilliant figure. As Dan becomes enmeshed in West's experiment, he confronts the consequences of their unethical endeavors. This contagion of obsession illustrates the film's warning about ambition overshadowing moral boundaries. It leads to both personal and communal devastation. The chaos resulting from their actions serves as a cautionary tale against the dangers of pursuing success without accountability. Despite being a horror film, Re-Animator artfully combines elements of dark comedy and satire, creating a unique narrative that critiques the medical profession and the concepts of life and death. By portraying the resurrection of corpses humorously, the film subverts traditional horror tropes, prompting viewers to alternate between horror and laughter. This absurdity, illustrated by zombie-like characters engaging in exaggerated antics, creates a thought-provoking experience that reflects deeper philosophical inquiries about life's value amidst chaos. Through its hyperbolic scenarios, the film critiques the medical community's earnest engagement with life and death, exposing the ethical dimensions often overlooked in scientific advancements. By framing the resurrection of the dead in a comical light, Re-Animator highlights how easily serious ethical dilemmas can morph into farce. Ultimately, Re-Animator acts as a complex examination of ethics, obsession, and humor against a horror backdrop, leading audiences to contemplate the responsibilities tied to scientific pursuits. West's journey epitomizes the folly of neglecting ethical considerations in the quest for knowledge. By merging comedy with horror, the film challenges audiences to confront the absurdities of life and the darker facets of human ambition, leaving a lasting impact that resonates with current discussions around scientific exploration. In 1985's Re-Animator, several classic horror tropes are effectively utilized to enhance its unsettling narrative and explore deeper themes. First, the mad scientist trope is embodied in the character of Herbert West, whose obsessive drive to conquer death leads him to conduct increasingly moral, dubious experiments. West's character reflects the archetype of the scientist whose ambition clouds his ethical judgment, ultimately positioning him as an antagonist not only to society but to the very essence of life and death. The film also delves into unchecked ambition, a prevalent concern in horror narratives. West's relentless quest for knowledge spirals out of control, resulting in deadly chaos and unprecedented consequences. This portrayal serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of scientific exploration devoid of moral boundaries, as West's ambition brings about destruction and suffering. Furthermore, Re-Animator highlights acute ethical dilemmas faced by its characters. The moral quandaries they grapple with, especially as they participate in West experiments, underscore the psychological turmoil inherent in the pursuit of knowledge. These dilemmas evoke a sense of horror not just from the gore depicted, but from the recognition that ambition can lead to horrific outcomes when divorced from ethical considerations. Through these tropes, Re-Animator masterfully combines horror and existential inquiry, inviting viewers to confront the darker implications of human ambition and the fragility of ethical integrity in the pursuit of scientific advancement. Re-Animator, directed by Stuart Gordon and adapted from H.P. Lovecraft's story, is a seminal horror film that has left an enduring legacy since its 1985 release. The film is renowned for its groundbreaking practical special effects, which incorporate prosthetics, animatronics, and stop-motion animation to create vividly gruesome and reanimated corpses. These innovative techniques have influenced countless horror films, showcasing their lasting impact on the genre. Beyond its visual achievements, Re-Animator expertly blends horror with dark humor, featuring witty dialogue and comedic moments that add irony to its macabre narrative. This balance makes it a quintessential cult classic and has inspired other filmmakers to explore the horror comedy genre. These performances, particularly Jeffrey Combs as the obsessive Herbert West, significantly contribute to the film's acclaim. Barbara Crampton's portrayal of Megan Halsey adds emotional depth, heightening the personal stakes of West's chilling experiments. Recently, Re-Animator has experienced a resurgence in popularity, aided by its availability on streaming platforms and its influence on modern horror creators like Guillermo del Toro and Fede Alvarez. Its unique combination of horror, humor, and remarkable special effects ensures that Re-Animator remains a beloved classic, appealing to both new viewers and longtime fans alike. In conclusion, Re-Animator endures as a cornerstone of horror cinema, intricately weaving dark humor and grotesque horror to explore profound themes of ambition, morality, and ethical boundaries within the scientific inquiry. Its masterful combination of innovative special effects and a daring narrative has not only revitalized the zombie genre, but has also reshaped approaches to horror comedy, inspiring a multitude of subsequent films. The richly complex character of Herbert West serves as a poignant reminder of the perils associated with unchecked ambition, prompting audiences to ponder the ethical dilemmas faced in the pursuit of knowledge. As a cult classic that continues to captivate new viewers through its energetic blend of absurdity and terror, Re-Animator affirms the enduring legacy of its creators. It stands as a testament to the innovative spirit of the 1980s horror resurgence and remains a vital influence on contemporary filmmakers. Ultimately, the film's ability to challenge conventions, merge humor and horror, and provoke thought about the consequences of scientific exploration ensures that Re-Animator will occupy a prominent place in the annals of film history, captivating and horrifying audiences for years to come. As we close the dark chapter on our 1985 cult classic Re-Animator, we hope you've enjoyed dissecting the twisted genius of H.P. Lovecraft's tale brought to life in all its gory glory. From the ethical dilemmas of the reanimation to the chaotic brilliance of Herbert West, this film reminds us that science, when pushed to its limits, can open doors best left closed. Join us next week on Celluloid Asylum as we delve into the eerie world of 2021's Malignant, where the boundaries of reality and horror blur in shocking ways. Trust us, you won't want to miss the spine-tingling revelations that await. Until next time, stay sane, if you can.